I can't wait, dude. Tomorrow I'm gonna talk shit.
You want $250? You don't care.
You want it?
He was on the radio.
Wow.
You don't know about this thing.
All right, so
Yeah.
alright, so we record. Actually,
His way of thinking is
actually, we are recording. Okay, so
if he's gonna lose, he's gonna get something.
all right. Thank y'all for showing up. I'm gonna do a speech about the. Today we're gonna talk about the Illuminati, what it is, who founded it, some of its members, what are the beliefs, and the New World Order. Most importantly, very quickly, how I got involved or even became interested in the topic is it started very young for me. One day walking home from school with a classmate, he looked down and happened to come across a ring. The ring had a symbol on it, it was a gold ring. He put it on and tried it. It didn't fit, so he passed it off to me. I tried it and it worked, it fit. So he said, you know what, since it fits you, why don't you go ahead and keep it? Well, walked home, and I think maybe every 10 feet I'm looking at the ring, proud of it, and I get home, show my stepfather, who happened to be in the yard, I think washing the car, and when he took one look at it, he told me to take it off. He actually seemed kind of panicked. He said, take it off, get rid of it, don't ever put the ring back on. And of course I said, why? And he said, well, that's a Masonic ring. They can take that off of you, and the police can do nothing about it. I'm like, yeah, right. No one's taking the ring off of me. So my mother walks out, who happened to be a police officer, and she saw I showed it to her. She said the same thing. Son, take it off. You can't wear that. It's very serious stuff. So that kind of led me into wanting to do research about it. And the emblem that I was referring to on the ring, it looked to me back then like a diamond that the points didn't add up, or with a G on the inside of it. And from visual stimuli, I'll go ahead and pass that around, or whatever you get done with me out. I'll go ahead and pass it around to the camera. Okay, while you guys are taking a look at it, the information that I gathered, or one of the first sources of information that I got, was from the book called The New World Order by Ralph Epperson. This book was written back in 1990. And some of the predictions that Ralph Epperson, or observations that Ralph Epperson made in this book, have come to pass now. So I read the book, and one of the few things in the book, or one of the few people he mentions, one of the founders of Illuminati, is a Dr. Adam Weishaupt. Who is Dr. Adam Weishaupt? He is a German professor. He was a German professor that studied at canon law. He began his education, formal education, at the age of 7, after his father died, under his grandfather. And it's believed that his grandfather had a lot to do with why, or his goals for wanting to formulate the Illuminati, known as the Enlightened Brotherhood of Bavaria. Somehow during that time of creating the Enlightened of Bavaria, it was determined or intercepted notes of its agenda, and it was investigated, and it was determined that this was a harmful society, and thereby exiling Dr. Adam Weishaupt. But he had friends with a lot of influence. He had a lot of money that actually was able to get him reestablished and set up his order. One of the things that Dr. Adam Weishaupt is known for stating is that the strength of their order comes in secrecy or concealment. It should never be in any place under its true name. It will always be under a different name and under a different job. So when was the Illuminati first created? Thank you. Illuminati was first created in May 1777. 1776. Why is this date important? Well, that's also the same year that America was founded, July 4th, 1776. Dr. Adam Weishaupt believed that to carry out, so that it doesn't become intercepted again, one of the ways for him to carry out his agenda was through the Masons, because it was already a secret organization, and a lot of prominent people were involved in it. And through that, he was able to move undetected, or so he thought. Who were some of the popular Masons we know? Well, for one, George Washington was. 1776, George Washington was known as one of the fathers of Masonry here in America. 1778, Dr. Adam Weishaupt was inducted into a Masonic lodge. And from the very beginning, it's been very clear what the Illuminati's goals are. One is to formulate a one world government. Two, a one world religion. Means every founding religion, whether you be Catholic, Muslim, Jewish, can be wiped out. And three, to eliminate Christianity. Just to name a few. Some of the beliefs that they have. No government, like I said before, that the government and private property should be wiped out, meaning that you don't have private property, it's owned by a higher form of rule. No inheritance. By leaving an inheritance, it establishes a way for your children or your ancestors or your children or generations after you to have more, establish more wealth. If you eliminate that, then it keeps those who are rich, a small group, in control of those who are poor, a larger group. There should be no middleman. They want to alleviate the middle class. There should be no middle class in their eyes. It should be small rich, large poor. Them controlling the poor. What are some of the things that what are some of the ways that they look to attack? I'm using that word attack. Our way of living, or the average middle class way of living. Well, first they look to attack the family. Now, understand that I got this information from the New World Order, like I said before. The book called The New World Order, like I said before, by Ralph Epperson. This book was written in 1990. And one of the things he wrote in the book was that they want to seek to legalize homosexual marriages. Well, when I read this book at the age of 19, now I'm 34, I laughed. Matter of fact, I threw the book down because I said, this is ridiculous. A friend of mine said, why'd you throw the book? I said, well, because he's talking about legalizing gay marriages. Back in 1998, when I read the book, I'm like, there's no such thing as legalized homosexual marriages. Matter of fact, people didn't even want to come out the closet, let alone approach a legal system saying we demand rights for homosexual marriages. Second, they want to look to the workplace. That stay-at-home mom, they want to alleviate that. And I know that sounds like something trivial and something that will never happen, but I said the same thing about homosexual marriages. Also, they want the government to own all privately or small businesses, mom and pop stores. One of the ways they're doing that is by calling in or buying out the loans that these mom and pop stores have. So at any given time, the government says, okay, we now own this loan, we're going to call it in, meaning that you have to pay us what you owe us for this loan, or we can seize this property as their own. That's one of the ways to get this done. One world religion. And it's touchy of how they want to do that. Okay. What are some of the symbols? What are some of the symbols that come to mind when you think about, or that are available for us to kind of look at? Well, one is the dollar bill. And it's very clear on the dollar bill. You see on there, in God we trust. Well, first of all, there's nothing that relates directly towards the founding religion, Christianity, on the dollar bill at all. Matter of fact, they have the pyramid, and everyone knows that the Egyptians did not even believe in our God. They had many gods. Why is the pyramid there? Well, more importantly, why is the Latin word Novus Ordem Coelestium? I'm saying it wrong, but translation means New Order World, or New World Order. It's on your dollar bill. Some of the symbolism that you'll find on the dollar bill, you'll find 13, jumping ahead. Some of the importance of the 13 families are also signified on the dollar bill. 13 families, just to name a few that you may be familiar with, the Rockefellers. These are the 13 original bloodlines, or the 13 original founding members of the Illuminati. Those who they can trace their heritage back beyond, so it's almost like their royalty. Those who exist outside of our form of legal system or monetary system. When you think of wealth, you think of like Donald Trump, you think of Oprah Winfrey, you think of Bill Gates. Now understand this, for one of these members, if they were to ever wake up tomorrow and have Bill Gates money, they probably commit suicide because they have officially entered into a class of poverty. They're beyond our imagination when it comes to wealth. They don't need to report to the Forbes 500 because to them, what we do business with, money or currency, is beneath them. Their simple words are enough for them to have. Understand the telegraph that. I said, you know what, I should have this. I shouldn't have to say it. Someone should know that I want this and it's mine. I don't have to pay for it. I'm not going to use something that commoners use, money. I'm not governed by money like we are. Back to some of the other families, DuPont. maker of like the plastic, whatever else have you. The Rothschilds and the Russells. Just to name a few. I'm not going to go into all 13, because that in itself, 13 different stories. Some of the 13 facts that you may find interesting is the number 13 on a dollar bill. You have 13 olive branches. You have 13 bars. You have 13 stripes. You have 13 arrows. There are 13 letters in the word E pluribus unum, which means from many, one. Going back to the one world religion, one world society. Matter of fact, I think American Airlines even says now when you fly, thank you for flying with American Airlines, a proud member of the One World Alliance. Did you hear me flew over? Yeah. 13 stars on the crest that formulate the Star of David. For what I don't know. 13 stone slabs at the bottom of the pyramid, which signifies the 13 original bloodline families. 13 words again in Anuet Sept, which means our success is now crowned. One of the symbols of the Illuminati is also the owl, and if you look very carefully, you can find it there also. So let's go ahead and wrap this up. Thank you. Some might say, you know what? Fun facts, thank you. It was interesting. They'll make a good story, fictional book. Some might say, you know what, it sounds like there's too much time on conspiracy theorist hands. To that I say, what does it cost? What do you have to lose if this is all true, or a quarter of this is true? What do you stand to lose? If you're the class that's under attack, what do you stand to lose? What does it cost for you to do a little bit of research? I went in there. Do you have any questions? Any questions, any concerns? Anything? And for the record, yes, I am a Mason. It sounds crazy. For the record, I am a Mason, but one of the things you do know, what we do know about Masonry is you're going to have bad and have good with everything.
So is it good to state violence and Masons and the
If you were to, I'm glad you asked that question, because if you ask any brother, you guys are secret society, right? Your answer would be, we're not a secret society, we're a society with secrets. Okay. So now if you were to ask about the Illuminati, which was one of the questions I asked before becoming a brother, tell me about Illuminati. And the brother laughed at me, kind of smiled. I said, how do you spell it? I said, I'm not sure of the spelling of it, but tell me about the Illuminati. Right? So some brothers will admit that they exist. Some brothers will laugh, smile at you, and say, no, they never heard of it. But it's up to you. Anybody else? Any other questions? Concerns, gripes, complaints? I will say this. When I became a brother, when I became a Mason, they told me, you know what, you probably have somebody in your family that's a brother or Mason. And I laughed. I said, ridiculous. I would know. As much research as I've done before in the past, I would have known if I had somebody in my family who was a Mason. Well, come to find out, after I became a Mason at the age of 21, my father is. I happened to tell my sister, thank you. I happened to tell my sister, and she said, yeah, your father is. My father is, and I believe my grandfather was. So don't be surprised if somebody here, actually all of you, have somebody in your family who is a brother. Okay. All right, fellas, thank you again for your time. And you have a question?
No.
Okay.
Yep.